A good day, YouTube. I want to make a quick guide on the new Tormented Demons, unlocked from completing the new quest Welgethic Sleeps. In this guide, I'll talk about the mechanics of the new Slayer monster and the rewards from their drop table. I actually really enjoy these new Slayer monsters. They're actually the exact mobs Jagex took the idea for demonic gorillas from, so they ended up completely changing them mechanically. They offer a lot more depth than their RS3 counterpart, even though they are similar to the base concept. I love that Old School took something from RS3 and made it enjoyable. Now that being said, there are a handful of bugs that make Tormented Demons really tedious at times and not as enjoyable. Their aggro radius is huge. People from other sides of the room or tunnels aggro your Tormented Demons, making them do weird, dumb things, like de-aggroing completely or messing up their prayer special rotations. This has gotten me killed many times on stream when people run down the tunnel and rag my room. The worst time was when completing the 3 Tormented Demon CA and someone came into the room. When fighting a solo Tormented Demon, I noticed that sometimes they bug out and stop completely, and I can't attack them. I lose the chance to punish them, and their brains kind of stop working. They seem to be able to aggro people on entirely different planets than their own and then stay that way. Unfortunate. These are some things to keep in mind because the worlds are very packed at the moment, so you can accidentally get extra aggro that you might not want, or lose aggro if other people are around. Things to bring. First of all, what weapons are good if you can't afford everything fancy? I only have a shadow, is that good? I only have a bofa, is that good? Before I can tell you that, you need to know how these things work, because it isn't intuitive. First of all, these demons have a shield with permanent 20% damage reduction against all non-abyssal and non-demon bane weapons. So the only weapons that truly do their full max hit are things like the new demon weapons, arc light, bludgeon, abyssal dagger, etc. Everything else is reduced by 20% for every single hit. TDs have 2 mechanics that make very specific items good. First is the super slow weapon punish mechanic, and the second is guaranteed accuracy rolls. At the start of almost every kill, the demon will do a roar. This indicates that your next attack, no matter what it is, will bypass their damage reduction. If the weapon you end up using is on crush or is a ballista/crossbow, it will get a huge amount of bonus damage and have its attack speed set to 2 tick. The more damage, the slower it is. As soon as this mechanic has been dealt with, a different timer will begin ticking in the background. After 25 game ticks, which equates to roughly 4 Tormented Demon attacks, all of your attacks will be completely unable to miss. This continues until they have done 10 total attacks and will snare you in place, dropping fireballs. You can dodge this by control-clicking away or dodging in a specific pattern by walking. They will also do another roar at this point, allowing another punish and repeating the entire process. They also throughout the fight will change styles just like demonic gorillas. It's every 150 damage dealt, we'll swap them to the last style used. With this in mind, we have some very unique items that are good here due to these mechanics. First of all, a lot of people felt that blowpipe felt strangely good here. So this is why. A 100% accurate blowpipe is some of the best DPS in the game, but it's pretty bad if it's actually rolling against their large defense. If you want the true DPS of your weapon, you need to take 13 of the weapon's hits against the demon's normal defense and 17 against it at 0 defense, and take the average of those 30 hits, which is roughly how many you get per roar. Arclight is a great budget option. It costs nothing and is basically the second best weapon for these demons. Just make sure it's on stab. If you don't want to use up those precious targes, a bludgeon is fairly close behind. It's about 5% worse. You need 2 weapon types, and blowpipe is just it. It's awful before it ramps up and starts deleting these. It is directly better than bofa or any crossbow. What should I bring to hit them for that punish mechanic? You absolutely need a ballista or a crossbow on accurate. Slower makes them do more damage. I'm not sure if ZCB is better or heavy ballista currently, but both are fairly similar. Ballista is a great cheap option. You also want a melee punish option in case they are praying ranged. For this, Dharoks Great Axe is the clear winner. Make sure you put it on crush. If you don't have this, a close second is Dragon 2H actually, or abyssal. If you've got all the cash you could ever need, then best options currently are T-Bow and Emberlight. You may be wondering, why are you not using Scorching Bow? That absolutely would be the superior option, but it is currently bugged and has a reduced max hit. If this gets patched on Wednesday, it will be the better option than T-Bow. Why am I not then considering using the Purging Staff? Well, unfortunately that is also bugged. in the same way. Purging Staff should be 5% better DPS than Scorching Bow, but it can't punish with a weapon like the other styles, so I feel that it probably is worse than Scorching Bow after that. That would be difficult to check though. T-Bow is directly better than blowpipe when you aren't 100% accurate, and even when you are 100% accurate, it's the exact same DPS. I've been bringing blowpipe as a switch to inflict venom when it can't miss, but that's pretty marginal. Finally, spec option, and believe it or not, against all odds, Abby Dagger is the best spec option here. It not only bypasses their shield, making it max higher than DDS would, when used with 100% accuracy, the spec DPS on it is absolutely absurd for only 25% spec cost. It maxes 98 in max melee with Blood Fury, a 4-tick spec weapon that costs 25 spec. Absolutely disgusting. I've seen people using SGS, but really, the Blood Fury procs from the dagger should outweigh any sustain that SGS provides. I've also had a lot of people asking me how to do the new CAs. You can actually get every single new CA in a single trip kill. When multiple Tormented Demons are on you, one will launch AoE attacks, one will melee you, and one will either mage or range you. All of this is automatically off-ticked, and you need to finish all 3 with a final punish special. In the footage, I used Ballista. Here's the example of me killing these. I'm not going to go into huge detail, as this video is long enough. All right, I've got myself a world here. What I'm going to do is try to get all of these below 10, wait for the special, and then finish all 3. All right, let's give it a shot. So I see that one is maging me, one is melee. Just got to keep up my prayers. Once one of them changes prayers, you got to remember, it delays them a little bit. So that AoE took a second, that's why. And I'm just staring at the mage Tormented Demon the whole time, and then praying melee. That's what I'm doing. Okay, so they're all melee now. All right, let's punish with Ballista. Unfortunately, they're on top of each other, but I can still tell one is ranging me. So that's okay. I can still see what he's attacking with, so this is okay. This does get a little awkward when they stack up like this. He's ranging. Okay. And again, we're just trying to get them all below 10% health, and then we'll finish them all. That should be perfect. Okay, he's not quite low enough. I'll pipe him a bit. Want to be careful what I punish here. Don't want to kill anything early. All right, so let's pipe him down a bit. This is going to take a second. Oh, he's maging. I didn't notice. Oops. Okay, they're all below 10. And we're just going to sit here flicking. I've got my Ballista ready. They're all praying melee, so we're good to go. As soon as the next time they do the attack, I will get the CA. Okay. Finish. Should get them all. There you go. So that's how you do it. They had a very clear intended method of this. A lot of people have been trying to cheese it with venom and that kind of thing, but that's the clear intended way. So there you go. Lastly, we'll talk about loot. Their base loot table is non-existent. This is a common complaint right now in the community. Jagex might change it. They might not. I'd like to see them stick with very bad drops with sparse good drops to prevent inventory clogging. Just buffing those occasional drops would be good enough for me. A loot table like Desert Treasure 2 bosses, as strange as it is to say, I think would work really well here. There are 3 new Demon Bane weapons, the bow, staff, and sword, which you make by getting a synapse drop from TDs and infusing it into your weapon. Emberlight is an extremely good Demon Bane melee weapon. It is nearly as good as Scythe on Serb, and is the new Biss at Sire. The bow is a big mention for those who want to essentially AFK Zammy. It snares him and does a lot of damage. It's only really good at Zammy, but it is absolutely disgusting there. The staff seems like by far the weakest option. I'd like to see Jagex have this provide all non-Demon Bane spells with at least a small damage buff as well, so you could barrage Necriel and Abbey Demons with it. These weapons aren't a bridge to anything in normal content, but for demons they are Biss. Right now the staff and bow are bugged and have a 20% lower max hit than they should at Tormented Demons. Hopefully Jagex fixes this soon. Next is the Burning Claws or Bone Claws. Iron Man, sorry, you have to get 2 of these to combine and make the full set. The Candy Corn Claws apply a burn and are similar to Dragon Claws, but only 30% spec. We did a lot of testing on stream and did some collaboration with Mulgoat Kirby to determine where these were good. These are unique and can spec on either stab or slash, unlike any other spec weapon, making them good in some unique situations.
Madam, I pray you're not toying with me. Whoa.
Turn around.
Oh, all right.
They also get a slight 5% damage buff against demon-type mobs. This equates to about 2 max hits usually. Okay, Toa. Anything under a 400 Toa with defense drain. Bone Claws will be good. You'd use them on Baba, Kefri, Zebak if you don't have ZCB, but they're not great on Zebak. Akka Shadows, but not on Akka Come phase. The burn actually does make him jump. Burning Claws are not great on Warden because he has extremely high defense breakpoints, and it is significantly worse on the core than DDS because it has a lower max hit, and the burn doesn't apply to the core. In Chambers, ZCB and Voidwaker are still king here because of how high the defenses are in this raid. Nothing in Cox is really weak to slash or stab. They were awful on Bossa Crystal. Tob. So these are technically better at Tob, but they are bugged at Tob, making them not good. The burn gets halved and rounded down to 0 when Bloat stands up and starts running around the room again. They would be okay on Nilo King, but guess what? He's completely immune to burn. No idea why. Bugs hate fire. What's going on with that, Jagex? Sodetsag, they are actually very good on. At all drains, they actually will beat Dragon Claws. Usually you have leftover spec at the end of the fight, and Chally is god-awful on finishing Sodetsag, so using Claws is nice with a 30% spec cost. Zarpus is just straight bugged. The burn triggers his turn, and he just kills you post-Screech, which is really bad. Don't use it on Zarpus. These are also exactly the same DPS as regular Dragon Claws, assuming your team fully drains him, so regular Claws seem like the play here. Verzik is funny, it's good here, but there are some cases where you can't claw her because she has self-healing mechanics. P1, don't ever do this, but the burn does hit her, and it's funny, so if you want your team to laugh and be mad at you, you could do that. In P2, she will heal the burn damage when dealing with red crabs, so you have to time it very specifically to not overlap there. It could be useful on the red crabs themselves as well, not sure. P3, it's really good, and with the burn stacking, it's nice for those who are running around not hitting the boss. Claws are probably better post-tornado since you won't finish that burn damage. If they fix up the immunity / healing in Tob, I think they'd be a solid choice. Currently, I feel they are worth bringing in addition to Claws, but not replacing them. These absolutely don't replace Chally because of its huge last hit value. It's a completely different thing. Inferno. The Burning Claws are not as good in Inferno because nothing lives long enough for the burn to apply. The point of bringing Claws is to finish targets quickly, not solely wait for burn to tick. Colosseum. Burning Claws are Biss in Colosseum by about 5% over Claws. It's especially good on Soul where you have leftover spec towards the end of the fight. You hammer once, then use up your Burning Claws. All the mobs in Colosseum have gigantic health pools, allowing the burn to tick on everything. Beautiful. Nex's defense is too high for them to really be good here. Even though the burn gets stronger the less accurate you are, because Nex heals so much, it makes them below Voidwaker and far below ZCB as a spec. We did a handful of KCs in max gear, and Bloodface dragged on far longer than it should have. Corp, Serb, etc. Corp, you're still going to Voidwaker spec. It's the only thing that isn't reduced due to his weird mechanics. Serb is completely immune to burn, despite literally being a demon. Seems like an oversight, and they should be Biss here. Vard Dorvis. Burning Claws are Biss at Vard. It's best to use the spec around the beginning of the kill and middle to maximize that burn DPS. Vorkath. These are also Biss here. I actually walked here on stream and very first attempt got GM time with simple melee camp. 53.4. New PB, woo! They typically hit a 60, and the fact you can triple spec and stack burn is absolutely disgusting. The damage on the burn is halved during acid and nullified during the freeze, but these still are the best option. Overall, Burning Claws are 2 to 6% better than places Dragon Claws would be used, unless the target has low HP or extremely low defense. These take longer to spec with than normal claws because of the low spec cost, meaning you swing your main hand weapon a bit less. If your main hand is in the region of 14 DPS, that seems to be when Dragon Claws equal out. They are a good spec if you don't have Voidwaker yet or are an Iron Man and don't want to grind wildy content to get your Voidwaker pieces. Anywhere you use a ZCB currently, Burning Claws will not beat it. And I didn't want to end this video without mentioning the fact that Bone Claws have controversy surrounding them right now. Some say they are bad, some say they are good. Let me make this perfectly clear and to the point. Any item at the beginning of an update that hasn't been tested is going to be volatile. I spent every day, 8+ hours each day, testing Burning Claws in every location I could to gather information, outside of calcs because they weren't updated yet, or didn't have proper formulas, or they were bugged. I worked with Mulgoat Kirby and nailed down corrections and came up with Burning Claws being good. For people like Adicon and others to spend those days bad-mouthing myself and others for doing extensive research and testing, spreadsheet, calcs, simming, you name it, well, he AFK'd at Krill and fed into rumors of merching, is not only an absolute unfounded lie, but just disappointing to hear from someone who claims to be a very level-headed and community-oriented person. Putting my community down when, according to Twitch analytics, we share over 78% of the same viewer base is not only downright disrespectful, but also bizarre. Especially because he released a new video taking our calcs and saying, yes, they are good, oops, but never apologized for going up and beyond just a small disagreement like it should have been. I love the community, and my goal has always been to help you guys with guides and give you the knowledge to go out and even find your own answers. GP means nothing to me. I care about teaching and helping people learn. That's why I make guides, and that's why we built the Discord Next Finder for people to grow with strong mentors like Hedron, Connard, Sci-Fi, and many others. I know people have strong opinions about me, but to be malicious towards other helpful community members is wrong. I didn't really want to talk about this drama, but with how much it is affecting both YouTube/Twitch chat, I feel like I'd give some perspective and clarity on the subject before any more rumors are spread. Addy and a few others didn't like those calcs or the conclusions we came to. That's fine. It's okay to disagree and to go back and forth, figure things out. But what is not okay is to come after my community that also happens to be your community, everyone's community, and attack them. I'm trying to create a place where voices are heard and welcomed. That's how Thralls got into Inferno. That's how Cox got its massive QOL update. With all of that said, thank you so much for all the support lately. Our new Next Learner section in our Discord has been doing well, and the support on all platforms has been ridiculous lately. I really appreciate everybody. If you like the video, leave a like and or subscribe. Thanks, guys.